Hi folks, it's Colin Fraser. Welcome to our Raza design and tutorial or tutorial and design video series. And what we're going to talk about in this video is font colors. Now, you can style your font colors however you want. You can create your own in the style sheet, use the different tools, but we've included some pre-designed font colors that sort of go best with the theme of the template, so to speak, and make it easy for you to quickly add a class to a particular font tag in order to change the color. So let's just take a look at what these colors are and where to find them and how to apply them. So if we look into the site folder, and let me just close some of this up here, and then the styles folder, we have the style base.css right here. Okay. And in the style base, we have things that are commented to help you sort of find where different things are grouped together. If we scroll on down and look for the font colors, there they are right there. Okay, you'll see that we have certain class names, and these class names have a color applied to them. And depending on which version of Dreamweaver you're working with, typically the newer versions, you can just sort of hover over the color and it will show you what that actual color block looks like. Older versions of Dreamweaver, not so much, but then we've tried to use the name of the color. That makes a little bit of sense. In this case, you know, yellow and orange and blue. Okay, so if you want to add a highlight color to a particular piece of text in your page to really make it stand out, we'll just open up a page here and we'll just show you how to do that. I'm just going to go and open up my one column page, and I'm just going to put it into the design view. Okay. Now that we're at this point in our tutorials, one of the things, like when I'm actually working on a website, one of the first things I do when I open a page up here is I go to the view and I want to get rid of the visual aids. I like to hide them all. I just do a Control-Shift-I by default, Control-Shift-I on the keyboard, and it gets rid of all of the bits and pieces that show my div containers and other things that I don't need in my view. Right? The nice thing about having a template is it's all designed for you. You don't have to worry too much about div containers and things like that. Obviously, if you're going to modify the layout, you do, but just as a generic page, you don't have to. So you don't need all that stuff in your view distracting you. All right. The other thing you can do actually is you can turn the styles off altogether. See the style rendering, how it says display styles, right? You can actually unselect that, and it just puts the entire page into kind of like a Microsoft Word document where you have text and, you know, image there. There's no styling applied to the page whatsoever. And depending on the layout of the page and the content I'm working with, I'll often go into the no design styles. I just want to, when I'm just typing out an article or writing information, I don't need to see the styles in the page if I'm just typing text into the page. So that's, I sometimes turn that off as well. Like I said, depending on what I do, because when I often have the page, or pretty much always have the page open in another browser. I'll hit F12 on my keyboard. I'll actually put this page into another monitor. Like I'll actually scooch it over to another monitor on the side. In this case, if you don't have another monitor, you just sort of switch between Dreamweaver and the page you're previewing. Right? You make your changes, you save them, you go and you preview it, because this is what your visitors, the visitors to your website, this is what they're seeing, right? What they see in the design mode is not going to be the same as what they see in a web browser. So I don't get too hung up on what I see in the design window, because it's not going to be as accurate as a web browser anyway. So I might as well just have the page previewed and I can see exactly what my visitors are seeing. So with that said, let's just go back to, I'll just turn these back on for the rest of this video just so we can, right? Okay, so let's say I have a piece of text or a paragraph in my page and I want to highlight it with a certain color. All right, so what I can do then is I can select that piece of text, and then I do something that's a little bit of a cheat, because I mean there's many different ways of doing this, but if you're working in the design view, we need to wrap this in a span class in order to apply a style to it, or so we need to, wrap it in a span tag in order to apply a class to it. But there's no super easy method, you know, I mean, there's different ways of doing it. Mostly you do it in code view. So here's my little cheat, is I just bold it. Okay, and that wraps it in the strong tag. Okay, now I can go and edit this tag. I can just do a set class, and then I can scroll through my list until I find the colors. Now what we're going to do is, there's a lot of classes in a Bootstrap theme, right? So we need to get down to the color tags, which could take a few seconds here, right? Or we can do the quick tag editor like so. And you see how it's strong, right? So now we can do a span class, right? And then we can just type in the word color like so, hyphen, and it's going to take us to our options just like that. So if we want it to be color orange, we just hit enter, and then we could hit enter again. And now that whole thing changes from strong to a span class that has the class of orange on it. So if you're wondering how do I get certain things in color text in the page, I mean, there's other ways of doing it. It's my little cheaty method. I've just gotten lazy over the years and found a quick shortcut that works without me having to go into the code view. And worse is I don't have to switch over to code view and then go to the hit the bracket and then span and type it in manually, because that you know, just there's tools at my fingertips, and that's what I'm using. So just to repeat that little trick, I would select the piece of text I want to change the font properties on. I just bold it to start with to add a class, sorry, to add a tag to the text I have selected, all right? And then I just edit the tag. Like I said, there's other ways of doing it. That's just how I do it. I just change strong. I double click on that word. I type in span and then space, class. You see how it automatically selects class there when I do the CL? And then I can just type in the name of the class. Now I know it's a color class that I want, so I can just go color hyphen, and then it takes me to the whatever's available.